feels a little bit more comfortable.
At least for me.
Oh, well, look at him. Kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A little bit better?
Yeah, I think this whole process is, you know, there are things that between us that we recognize as issues, but then we also have found our own, well, at least I've found my own kind of areas of tension, I guess. And so...
Your areas of tension.
Yeah, well, you know, individually, we might be going through our own stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And some things have come up.
That may be clashing into our relationship, and we don't really realize that's the root.
Oh, I see. So individual stuff inside you is coming up and spilling over into what's between you.
Yeah.
Is that right? In a way?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that comes to mind? Did something like that happen last week or recently?
Did you want to start since you wrote it up?
No, you have better memory than I do.
Okay. I have been, I don't know. I guess with all the stuff we're starting to understand about ourselves individually, I'm starting to notice that because of the need to feel appreciated, that's huge for me, and I'm starting to see it in things, and so now I'm trying to kind of calm it down in some areas and not look forward to it. So like internally, this is my little battle. One of the things I'm having a problem with, not a problem, maybe a concern or is feeling, I don't know, it could be a little bit of envy too. And then there's my age is starting to come into play, but I'm not really feeling very doted upon as a wife. The whole spoiled wife thing. I mean, a lot of my friends are always, especially this time of year, anniversaries and Christmas, it's like they're finding about their presents and they're finding out that, or they're talking about things their husband did for them, and it's like
I know where we're going with this.
I'm constantly aware of that, but most of our relationship, I always told Paul that, don't worry about me, you know, it's not important, because I was used to being that way. But now that I'm older, I'm starting to notice that I do want flowers or candy or cards for no reason, or to be, I don't know, doted upon, I guess. So this is what seems to come around a lot, is that I don't really feel that way.
Huh.
But then there's that whole not wanting to be selfish, not wanting to be.
So you don't think I'm romantic or something?
I think in my husband's heart of hearts, he's very romantic. I also think that
Talk to him.
he's very giving. I just think
I
that
didn't hear you the first time. What
I
did you
said, I
say?
think you are very romantic, and I think you are very giving. I just think that because you are very elaborate / intense and high things, you know, you have high expectations, that you would rather, you know, give the large gifts than focus on the little gifts. And I also know that
That's true.
that me telling you what I want takes away from you giving to me, because it feels like I'm telling you what to get me.
Exactly, like I don't know.
Right. But what ends up happening for me on that end is that there's a lot of lag, or a lot of in between time that spans lots of time waiting for that elaborate gift, because finances may not be where we want them to be for me to receive those. And so, though in the past I think I didn't mind, you know, I was so happy with being able to do for you and to find ways to do for you. But now that I'm older, things that I never wanted before, I'm starting to notice that I want, and I don't even know why. Maybe it's all the commercialism, consumerism.
It is that. You should
But
stop.
I'm ready for diamonds. I'm ready for tennis bracelets. I'm pretty much ready for trips. I'm ready for stuff like that now.
So that translates to I'm ready for debt. I'm ready for bankruptcy.
Oh,
And
there's
that's
creative ways to
not
do
an option.
things,
I'm
so
not going that route.
I understand that. But
Can I chime in
Respond.
here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so there was a particular incident that kind of stifled my wanting to do stuff for you, the little stuff, because you said the little stuff was where you were at. That no, those things count too. And so on my trip to Guatemala, I spent an inordinate amount of time trying to find just the right jewelry because you had been on this jewelry kick, accessories, and I'm thinking, this is handmade stuff. This is genuine. It's jade from the hills of Latin America. And we even went to this remote village where they were selling jewelry, and I was like, my wife would love this. And then when I brought it home, you were like, you looked at it like one of our kids had made it and you might wear it. And you only wore it like, I mean, the stuff that I brought, you only wore it like once, and that was, and you didn't even wear it the whole day. It was like you shined just to let me see it, and then you didn't. And so after that, I was like, wow, I really must not, that I didn't really feel like you appreciated that. And my friends could have told you that I was on a mission during that trip to get you something that I thought was thoughtful, that I thought was, you're not going to find any of that. Well, you might find that jewelry up in America, but I thought it was kind of harsh that you haven't worn it since, and so.
well, I was very appreciative. I told you I was very happy. I wore the necklace. I still wear the necklace. The earrings one of the earrings cut me. One broke. And I told you, I said, I can't wear the earrings because they hurt my ears. And I told you that. It wasn't, but I still have them. And even when my friends come over, I've told them, my husband brought this back from Guatemala. It's a big deal to me. I've thrown lots of jewelry away. I still have all of your pieces. And I thought that was amazing that you did that. But
Here it comes.
I too have bought you gifts that you have been even offended by, made me take back.
Offended by?
Yeah.
Can I get an example?
Like a watch. Like, I don't wear this. You'll literally
That
say.
was when we were like teenagers.
No.
Yes.
No. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. This
It
is how
doesn't
I
matter.
feel.
You just pulled something from 10 years ago.
No, I buy you. Either way, I buy you something almost every holiday. A card. I acknowledge, and I don't feel this. I don't feel the same way. That I get the same in return. Anniversaries, birthdays, Mother's Day. I get cards, and they're beautiful cards. But now that I'm older, I really need some more substance to accompany the thought.
You need to get a second job.
No, because I found a way to buy stuff without breaking the budget, and I sacrificed.
Oh, we still don't agree on the budget part, so.
Okay, let me stop you for a moment. How's this conversation feeling?
She's not listening.
No, that's not what I asked.
Oh,
I didn't ask you to describe her. How is this conversation feeling to you? You're feeling. Does it feel good? Does it feel like you're getting somewhere? Does it feel kind of stuck?
kind of stuck. I think I feel like I missed it. Not knowing how to please my wife, and so yeah.
All right. How are you feeling right now?
Torn
Kind of torn.
between wanting to be accepting of who he is and what he's kind of capable of, or what he has shown his capabilities in, but at the same time wanting him to grow. It's like I don't want to push him to try to buy me everything, because that's not what I want. It's just more along the lines of him understanding that I'm really wanting him to show me I don't know, it just seems so selfish.
Yeah, you've got a conflict inside yourself around this. If you ask for what you really want, it means you're a bad person, you're selfish. But if you don't ask for what you want,
Cool.
then you get deprived, right? That's right.
Can I talk about what this is bringing up in me, or no?
Let me suggest something. I mean, I think that that's a good idea, Paul, but I think it'll come out in a structure that might be helpful for you. Here's what I'd like to suggest we do. This is a conflict, right? In terms of what does giving mean? What does giving mean? What does it mean to be honored as a wife? What does it mean to be honored as a husband in terms of giving? And this, of course, being around Christmas, is the season of giving. So giving becomes something that really starts rising to the surface at this time, doesn't it? Around Christmas time. So what I would like to suggest to you is that we do a different kind of conversation called the Dream Within Conflict. And I'm going to explain a little bit about what it means, and then I'll kind of guide you through it. When people have a heartfelt position that they're coming from, there's usually very deep feelings about it, a deep sense of values, a deep sense of meaning, oftentimes history, that's linked to it. And those are often different for each individual in the relationship. Yet when you're discussing what you want, for example, and how you haven't gotten what you wanted, and it's not okay to ask for what you want, and so on the surface, you don't get down to the deeper level of where you're living with this issue, where the feelings are really coming from. And so before you think about resolving the issue or trying to address it, it's really important to gain that understanding of each other's position on this issue by one person being the speaker, the other person being the listener, right? Speaker, each of you will take a turn being the speaker. And let's address the issue in terms of gifts and gift giving and gift receiving and what that's about for you in terms of your own needs. And as you're speaking about what your position is on giving, gifts, material things, the listener, I'm going to give you kind of a written set of questions that will help you to structure what you ask your partner. They're at the top of the page. And what the listener needs to do is simply just ask the questions kind of one by one, and I may jump in and help you shape the question a little bit in terms of the uniqueness of what's coming out. But simply listen to your partner without trying to persuade them of anything different, without trying to tell them what they should think or feel. So it's about listening and trying to really understand your partner's deeper inner world around their position on this particular issue. So you'll take turns. Each of you, let's say, will give you each, let's say about 15 minutes or so to be the speaker and the listener. And then you'll trade roles without trying to solve it, but just firstly trying to understand it at a deeper level. Okay? So, as the speaker, Chantel, why don't you begin by simply talking about your position regarding gifts. What gifts mean to you? And you're going to be talking with Paul, so this will be a dialogue between the two of you. Paul, your role will be to just listen and then ask each question in turn if it makes sense to you, okay? And I'll help you with this too. All right. Chantel, you want to begin?
I've always felt that gifts are a token of your affection or your appreciation for someone, and that when you give them a gift, that's your way of showing that, especially if it's something that you know they wanted or something that they didn't know that they could ever get. That's huge for me. I don't remember growing up with a lot of gifts. And then I remember sharing a lot. It wasn't anything that was particularly mine. Kind of always having the dream of being given to at some point. And maybe if I give enough, somebody will want to give back.
Paul, try asking that question as Chantel is leading into this, the question about history.
Is there a story behind this for you?
Or many.
I don't remember rapid fire.
What did you say, Chantel?
I just wasn't given much because I needed to be appreciative. People were taking care of me. So they would come home, buy stuff for their kids. I wouldn't even get a bag of socks. It seems no Christmases, no birthdays. And I just felt like if I give enough to somebody, they'll give something back. It doesn't seem like anybody does.
Did that ever work for you when you were a kid?
I would wrap up all my stuff and give it to everybody. clothes, anything I can find. When it was time for a gift, if it was somebody's birthday or Christmas, my whole neighborhood would be walking around in my clothes. And my grandma would get mad. It's better to give than it is to receive. That's what I was taught. So I gave all the time. I make gifts. If I had any money, I'd try to buy something. It's rare. I don't know why. That's the way I was raised. You just have to be appreciative of what you do have and not. I remember going through these books and circling toys. Every year they come in the mail.
What would come in the mail?
The catalogs that I would circle. Everything. Just anything, hopefully. Even stuff I didn't want. I'd leave it out. I was given things that were sensible. Not frilly things or girl things. I remember I got a new bedspread because my bedspread was was ripped. But I couldn't get like the curtains or anything. I just needed the bedspread. Seems silly.
It's not silly. Try asking why it's so important to her.
Well, why do you think this is so important to you?
I don't know.
What will it mean if gifts were given to you?
That somebody cares about what I want. Not just what's needed or necessary. If I just want something, it's okay. So see, it's ever been okay to just want something. I always have to find a need for it.
Is there a fear or disaster scenario in not having this dream honored?
I'll just go without, I guess.
And what does going without mean for you?
Good job, Paul.
Nobody cares.
And that's how it felt, didn't it? That nobody cared. Especially when the other kids in the family were receiving gifts and you weren't.
I was being taken care of, so that was always supposed to be my gift. Just somebody's taking care of you. You should be appreciative of that.
So it's enough to be fed, to have a roof over your head.
Sensible shoes, your clothes, church clothes. That was it. I had 5 toys. That was all I needed. So I probably wouldn't be able to take care of anything else. Because I wasn't responsible.
Oh, that's interesting. So they blamed you for not giving you more gifts. You wouldn't be able to take care of them anyway, so why give them to you? Paul, try asking Chantel what's important to her about the small but more frequent gifts. What does that mean to her?
What she said. What did you say? What's important about the more small and frequent gifts?
That you were thinking about me. You thought I might like something. Or you're happy that I was your wife and I tried my best to make you happy.
So me calling and telling you all day is not enough?
Yeah, it's nice to.
What is it, Paul?
Well,
Is there a question you want to ask?
no, something that I just now realized that I do think about Chantel all day long.
Tell her that.
I do think about you. And that's usually why I call you all day long. Partially why. And I really enjoy just kind of talking with you about stuff that then it seems like something always comes up and I'll have a checklist in my head and then I switch from me thinking about you to, while I got you on the phone, I might as well remind you about all of the stuff that needs to be done.
Okay, let me pause for just a moment, Paul, so that we can keep the focus on understanding Chantel for the moment.
Yeah, because I made my own discovery just then, so.
And that's fine too. That's fine too. You'll have a chance to share that. But there's something that may be a mystery here for you, which is to understand what is it about the tangible things, the things themselves for Chantel. What gives those meaning? Why do those have such meaning for her?
Well, I know now.
Try asking. See what she says.
What is it about the tangible things that have meaning for you?
It's a visual representation of your love for me. thing that I can see, look at, or smell, or wear, or anything. Even if it's flower, even if you picked up a rock on the way home and said, I saw this rock, it was shiny and smooth, and it made me think of you. I would keep that rock forever. I don't know. I don't remember having a lot of that from people. That's what gifts are for me. It's a visual reminder. When I see you in your bathrobe, when I see you with a watch on, when I see you with anything, or when you pull out your wallet, I think, I bought that for you because of it. And I remember how happy I was that day. And that means so much to me. I don't know why. But it's huge. I remember every gift for some sick reason.
It's not sick. It's not sick, Chantel.
Not as if I'm trying to keep some Annie, but just because I look at that and I think about how happy you are. I love to tell the stories of things that I've done because the whole point was that it would make you happy. And it would show you that I love you unequivocally.
Is there a part of you that wished that was directed towards you?
Yeah. And I don't want to make it seem like that's why I do it. But just recently I'm noticing that I would like to be able to look back at some things and think, like I do look at that. Every time I see that necklace, I think about you. I imagine you in the hills of Guatemala looking for me pieces of jewelry, and I'm enthralled by that. I think that's why I keep it. I can't wear it every day because it doesn't go with everything. But I mean, it does mean a lot to me. I was so happy to hear that story.
Okay, let's pause for a moment. You know,
Can I add one more thing?
yes, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know how to show vast amounts of appreciation, though, because I'm not used to showing it. So when I have a receipt, damn it. When I get something, I don't know what to do. So I don't know how to get all excited. I try, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm so surprised or
You're stunned.
if I'm worried that it's gonna be taken back from me. So I don't want to get all happy because I might not have it anymore. But I've never been able to really get excited about things that are done for me because I don't know if I believe it at first. And so I want to apologize if I appear that I didn't appreciate it. I've never known how to. I used to admire Nettie because she could get excited about anything. I swear.
Why I need that.
Okay, just a moment.
It's
Hang in
my
there.
turn, man. Here's the paper.
It's coming, Paul. It's coming. Let me summarize for a moment something that I think is really important to
You
understand.
edit out some of the crying.
Forget that. One of the things that I think is really important that Chantel is saying is that, you know, the words mean a lot, but words are present in the moment and then they disappear and they're replaced by silence. Then they're gone. And it's hard to remember them and it's hard to believe them.
It's similar to that quote you say. People sometimes remember what you say.
I never remember what you say.
They never remember what you say.
They
You sometimes remember what you do.
do.
But they always remember when they felt when they were with you.
Beautiful.
Maya Angelou.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful quote. And it sounds like the tangible things don't disappear. They don't disappear. So it's so difficult for you to receive, Chantel. It's so hard that when you have a necklace, let's say, you can look at it over and over and over again, reminding yourself, he loves me, he gave this to me. He loves me, he really loves me, he gave this to me, look at this. It reminds you. Just like when you look at the robe you've given Paul, you're reminded of your love for him. And it's so hard for you to believe that Paul loves you endlessly, not just in a moment. So the gift reminds you that yes, indeed, he really does. There it is, as a reminder.
You don't believe that?
That you love me? Yeah. Like, whenever we're angry with each other, we both wonder. We still do.
Do you feel ready to change roles now? Okay. Paul, your turn.
Put my foot up.
Okay. So you're going to begin by talking about what gifts mean to you. And we'll explore that more.
You mind if I do it by talking about my family?
That's perfect.
All right. Well, most of my childhood was similar to yours in that there wasn't a whole lot of there wasn't a big deal made about gifts and birthday presents and parties. I don't know why my parents didn't really give that much. Maybe it was because we were broke. And there were Christmases where we always had someone outside of our family that seemed like they were, there was always one person that seemed like they were like an angel or something, where they gave us gifts for that particular year or whatever. And so we always had friends of the family or someone that admired my mom give those gifts to us, but it never really came from my parents. My parents, I don't have any recollection or remembrance of them making a big deal about any of our birthdays or the holidays. It wasn't until Jan came into my life that started to be a big deal. And so, she would celebrate me and my birthday and the holidays in ways that for me were, as a kid, I just thought I was dreaming of how much love this woman gave me. And so, I'm kind of stuck because I'm thinking about what gifts mean to me. And
How do you feel about it?
how do I feel about what?
The two extremes.
I'm still a little bitter towards my parents. I feel like I have a lot of built up frustration and disappointment from them. They seem to be so distracted with everything else but their kids. I remember, I think the reason why I have such a great imagination is because I usually had to find stuff to play with. And until Jan came along, there wasn't much but me and my imagination. I did have a bike though. I remember my dad bought me a bike, that was a big deal. He brought me a black Huffy bike, and brought the exact same bike for my sisters. But outside of that, I don't think gifts had too much meaning for my family, so I didn't really pay attention to it. And so until Jan came along, and it just felt good just to get something though. And I very, very, very much appreciated it at the time. I don't even know if I expressed that to her, but had it not been for her, I wouldn't have had as much as I did growing up. So,
Does this relate to a specific belief or value for you?
About gifts, you mean, Chantel?
About giving in general?
I'm always skeptical. Like if I see a need and there's an authentic need there, I love to give to stuff like that. But if it feels like someone's trying to take advantage of my kindness, that's not cool. I'm quick to close up and not want to give. So I feel like people need to be appreciative of the gifts that they're given.
Is there a fear or disaster scenario that would be attached to that?
The fear is not appreciating what you have.
Paul, what about the fear of being used? Of giving and then somebody just exploiting you?
Yeah, that's present.
Talk about that.
I think that comes from my dad, though. My dad was never trusting of anyone, even close friends. He would always say, would always say, "Hey, you can keep them close to you, but don't trust them." And he just had this belief that there was something about people that you shouldn't put your full trust in. That they're going to take advantage of you. You can guarantee it. And so, and you know that. I mean, my older sister's the same way.
What does appreciation look like for you?
What do you mean?
How do you know that someone is appreciated?
You can sense it. You can feel it. They are respectful. They verbally and physically look like they appreciate what you did for them.
Is there like a deep sense of joy? Are they ecstatic? Are they...
No, it's like thankfulness that in their time of need you came through for them, and so that's what appreciation looks like, is thankfulness.
What do you think you need to be able to give?
What do I need to be able to give? To give to someone that appreciates it. It doesn't take the giver for granted or take advantage of the giver.
Chantel, try asking Paul if there's a story or some history for him behind this this expectation that he might be taken advantage of. Where's that coming from, other than his father?
Is there a story for him? Does he need to be appreciated? Or this expectation, appreciation?
just my dad. My dad is the source of that. Well, when I think about if there's a story, I just hear his voice in my head yelling at us, telling us, don't, or he'll actually get angry, or he'll always say if something good happens, if something good were to happen, he would always come back around and say, Dad, don't trust him, no, you know. I just remember him saying that over and over again. No matter who it was, even his close friends, which I didn't understand, that there was always this sense of him reserving a part of himself and not fully giving himself to people.
So Chantel, try asking him how that affects his ability to receive gifts.
How does that affect your ability to receive gifts?
Can you ask it in another way? I don't feel like I have a problem receiving gifts.
I don't either.
He's good at that, huh?
But I make sure, though, when I do receive gifts, that I show my appreciation.
Do you worry about the person taking advantage of you by giving you gifts?
There is a suspicion of why they gave it to me,
Yeah.
even if it's my birthday. I'm always curious as to their motive. Even if their motive was, it's your birthday.
Let me point out something, Paul, that may not be apparent on the surface, and that is, as long as you're suspicious of why somebody's giving you the gift, you're not going to be able to take in the love completely that gift is being accompanied by. The suspicion will block it out. You might at first receive something and say, wow, they really love me. Look at what they've given me. Then that little voice will go, yeah, but, you know, what are they after?
Yeah, because as soon as you receive a gift and you think there's a wrong motive, it definitely takes away from the gift. For anybody, for that matter.
So what that means is that it feels great to receive gifts. You know, there's a part of you that feels wonderful and appreciative, and it feels great to receive gifts. It's almost like the part of you that was influenced by Jan. But then there's the part of you that was influenced by your dad that's saying, don't take that in so easily. Watch out. Make sure, make sure that they're not trying to get something from you in exchange. So there's kind of two sides, isn't there, to what gifts are like for you. What's coming up for you right now?
My dad was right.
About what?
Because even Jan left.
know now why she did, and it makes sense, but back then I didn't.
Back then, it just felt like she no longer loved you. Is that how it felt? Couldn't count on love, huh?
No, I was hurt back then, but my hurt was turned into anger. And I shut everyone out then. I was at the beginning of my teenage life.
Yeah.
And so that gave me more kind of hatred and
Suspicion.
yeah, I really didn't trust anyone then.
So do you think in any way that's affected what Chantel gives you, how you feel about it?
Good.
You know, Paul, I think there's a different way of understanding what happened with Jan, and I know that you've done a lot of work on that, and you've come to an understanding too about it. But I think that Jan lost you. Jan lost you. When you went into the streets, when you went into the drug life, the dealing life, she lost you. And so she pulled away. And you lost yourself as well. You lost the softer part of you, the tender part of you, the loving part of you. You couldn't survive and hold on to that part of you at the time. You had to be hard to survive. What you were going through, the racism you were going through, the violence you were going through, you had to be hard to survive. So you lost that part of you, at least it got buried for a while. It went into hibernation. But to Jan, I think it felt like she was losing you to the streets. I don't think she ever stopped loving you, Paul. Just like Chantel never stops loving you.
Remember when we went to visit her? What did you feel from her?
Pride. Immense satisfaction. To me. I don't think she thought you would. Especially was surprised. But the more she sat down with us and met our children, the more happy she was to see me back.
She's always loved you, Paul.
You can't give someone that much of your life and just close that chapter. Especially maternal.
Amen.
Like how we love our God kids.
Mother love you're talking about.
Even Kimber. I still love her. even with the choices that she made and how disconnected we are now. If I saw her, I'd run to her, I'd grab her, I'd hug her, as if no time had passed. Look at Ebony. All that we've gone through with her, we'll never stop loving her. So I don't really believe there's any way possible for Jen to stop loving you.
What that means, Paul, is that all the gifts that Jan gave you, the material things she gave you, whatever gifts she gave you, those were all real. They were all real. Your father was wrong, at least about her. They were real. Just like the gifts that Chantel gives you. They're real. Lost in the past, huh? Do the two of you have any greater understanding now of both giving and receiving at this point? What I'm hearing is that, for you, Paul, appreciation is really important. If you give something, appreciation is important. And Chantel, you really want to appreciate. You're just so stunned with disbelief. You can hardly believe it. To get to the next step of appreciation, you got to believe it's for real before you can then appreciate.
Sorry.
Lovely darling. You can appreciate how wonderful it is, right? And so when she pauses and doesn't show ecstasy in that first moment, she can just barely believe it. It's like, she's so unaccustomed to it. It's like being on a different planet. But then it sinks in.
Even if it's a crappy gift.
I don't think
Is there such a thing as a crappy
I
gift?
think so.
I don't think so.
Otherwise it's crap. Actual crap.
Actual crap. Don't give her any crap.
Well, you're safe there.
Okay, you guys.